Hey everybody, happy Sunday. So as usual, before I get started with the live, I always go to my YouTube to make sure I'm not on here talking to myself. So as usual. All right, so I just wanted to make sure before we kind of start with the live, I just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself and whatever we say will be on the YouTube, because sometimes on these platforms that you'll think you're recording it or not. But anyway, happy Mother's Day. Happy lovely Sunday. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Mother's Day. Hopefully if you have children, as a mom, you are able to celebrate today with your children. Even let's say you're a dad and you are raising your children. I don't want to call you a mother, but I want to say happy day to you as well. And of course, we do the same thing when it comes Father's Day, right? But I appreciate everybody who makes sure that their children are taken care of. So happy Mother's Day to you all. Hey, what's going on, David? What's going on? Good evening, good evening. So we're going to jump into what we're going to talk about today. I appreciate anybody who joins me today. Don't be scared to, let me make sure I put this down. Don't be scared to join in the conversation. If you are new to the channel, please let us know, how did you get over here? Also, where you watching from, I guess you could say, watching or listening from, however you guys go about YouTube. And there is my dad. Hey, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. So yeah, just let us know in the comments. Please don't be scared to join in the conversation. So I kind of wanted to talk about this whole spring market, right? And in real estate, typically springtime is the time in which people start to maybe uplift or uproot from where they're currently living at. They might want to sell their house and then they might want to relocate. And a lot of it sometimes has to do with them having children in schools and different things like that. So they kind of wait to the end of the year to move. Or maybe let's say you had children, they finished out their school years at high school and now they're going to college and now you're an empty nester. So you kind of want to, move now and relocate or readjust. So I want to talk about the spring market, because what we're seeing now is particularly more in the Georgia market. I'm not sure how everybody is experiencing it throughout the world, or I guess you can say the nation per se, United States. So anybody that is in a different market, please chime in and let me know. I know David is in Nebraska, so let me know how you're feeling over there. And but before we head into this article too, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching this live, and even if you're watching on the replay, hit the thumbs up button. It helps to push the video through the algorithm. I swear sooner or later I will get good lighting. I know my lighting's not the best. And also we're about 8 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So I would love if anybody is watching this video on the playback, or if anybody came over to the channel, and even if they don't never want to watch another video, just subscribe to the channel. So let's kind of jump into what they're kind of saying about the spring market. And I also want to kind of talk about, I did almost like, if you guys don't know, sometimes it's hard to put some things on here due to people's addresses and stuff, like our names and things like that. So I did kind of screenshot some things and then cross out people's names and stuff, because I wanted to kind of show on the screen. If you are a current buyer right now, or if you are trying to buy in this particular time frame in 2025, just try to see if your agent can just do a deeper dive into where you're buying at, what you're doing, depending on what market you're in. And I'll bring up our market, the Atlanta metro market. We're seeing we're seeing a decrease of, is this going to go down? Okay, here we go. We got this big old daggone thing here. Oh Lord, I hope this. Sometimes I'll be like, how do you get rid of these big old ads? It wasn't there before. Now the ad is here on my screen. Let me see if I can add. Sorry, you guys. All right, how does it, is they going to pop up a thing? Okay, there we go. All right, we'll just do it that way. So, and now my screen is doing this freezing stuff again. All right, so we're going to kind of get through some of this, because I think when I have a lot of things up on my screen, this is why I can never go through have a smooth live, because I need a better computer. It's crazy. I have this what's this called, an Apple desktop, and I'm at this point I might just go back to Windows. No, no hating on Windows, but I'm like, if I'm gonna experience all this craziness, they say you get the Apple, because the viruses, you don't get that much and this and that. But I'm like, I feel like I'm experiencing so much over here. But anyway, let's kind of dive into this before I go on a tangent. Oh, thank you, Dave. He said only 8 subs away from 1,000. Yes, 8 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you guys can subscribe to the channel, I truly appreciate it. And thank you, David, for the $8 super chat. I appreciate you. You're always coming over here showing the channel love as far as super chat. So I totally appreciate you. And I appreciate you always being here to kind of tune in and watch and also chat within the conversation. So I truly appreciate you guys. If you guys don't know, David Matney, living in Omaha, Nebraska, has his YouTube channel as well. He's a wonderful person out of the Omaha, Nebraska area. Please go over to his channel, give him some subscribes, give him some likes, give him some views, and continue to get some great content around real estate, especially in that Omaha, Nebraska market. All right, so let's get into this whole spring market situation. So as it says right here with the title, okay, I keep wanting to, but I can't. Okay, these things are popping up. Anyway, this is basically talking about how the spring home sales season is shaping up to be like a dud, in the sense of there's not as much moving right now in this market that people thought or had kind of assumed it would. It said the troubled housing market can't seem to get back on track. Inventory of homes for sale is steadily rising, but demand is still TP'd. Home prices in part of the country are falling, but with prices not much below record highs, many would-be buyers are still squeezed out. Mortgage rates are hovering around 6.75%, more than double the level only a few years ago. So if you guys don't know, as we all know, home prices, right? A lot of people are stating that the home prices are still unaffordable. Now with the interest rates being in the 6s, the mid to high 6s, maybe 7s, depending on your particular factors when it comes to talking to a lender, you're seeing higher mortgage monthly mortgage payments now because of the prices and because of the interest rates. It says the crucial spring selling season is shaping up as a dud, crushing hopes that a housing market that has been anemic for more than 2 years can gain significant momentum this year. It definitely feels like a disappointment, said Selma Hepp, chief economist at Cotality, I think is how you say it, a real estate data provider. The recent deterioration in the economic backdrop and consumer sentiment is making matters worse, cooling buyer appetite for big purchases like a new home, even in markets where there is a glut of inventory and sellers are offering concessions. It isn't enough to get the market moving nationally. So I don't know what you're seeing in your market, David, as far as concessions or what home buyers are offering or what builders are offering. But after we dip out of this article, which is a more nationwide type of headline, I'm going to dip into an Atlanta article that was published in regards to what Redfin was talking about in this Metro Atlanta area. So it says Hannah and Ben Jacobs purchased a 5-bedroom house in Plano, Texas in March. They listed their previous home for sale in early April. They haven't gotten any offers. In March, I felt pretty good about buying a house, but if I had seen what happened a month later, I probably wouldn't have pulled the trigger due to uncertainty, Ben Jacobs said. He said the real estate industry had higher expectations going into this year after existing home sales in 2023 and 2024 dropped to the lowest levels since the mid-1990s. So they said the existing home sales dropped to the lowest level since the mid-1990s. I particularly think they were talking about around 1995. I saw some articles, things mentioned 1995. David said, we are still seeing multiple offers in homes selling quickly. Wow. I'm in the wrong market. I'm in the wrong market. I'm going to touch more of like what's going on down here. But yeah, so the Nebraska market, you guys are still seeing multiple offers, homes selling quickly. If you guys don't know, I currently am helping 2 home sellers right now. We haven't gotten, at the moment, any offers. Well, let me take that back. One of the houses, we keep getting investor offers, which are like subject to seller owner financing, wraparound mortgage deals. That's not going to work for this particular property and this particular homeowner, because that kind of keeps the loan under the homeowner. And then it kind of shifts things over in a different way. And that's not going to work for this homeowner. And then the other one, we're not getting anything. We had an interest in a particular offer. However, when I go in to meet with home sellers, just like I do with home buyers, I have a consultation, I have a conversation, and sometimes people listen to what you say and sometimes they don't. And so when they don't listen to what you say, we hit a wall sometimes, right? Sometimes you might win, right? I might say something and it might not come up. But in this situation and in this market right now, in this Metro Atlanta area, and depending on where you're at in the Metro Atlanta area, like what community you're in, what city you're in, the county, locality, whatever, you have to do certain things to kind of get your house sold. And so I kind of tell people, like, if your roof is old, several years old, over 20 years old, even over 10 years old, hey, you might want to look into possibly doing the roof. Do not, if you don't have to, do not take out an insurance claim to do said roof, but maybe go and get an estimate quote from a roofer to do said roof if you can afford to do it. And I know some people might be like, well, I don't have the funds to, I'm just going to give concessions. So sometimes if you do that, you might have to offset the price too, right? Also, if you have older systems that might need to be attended to, some sellers might say, well, you know, I maintenance them or whatever. However, yeah, if it's over 20 some years old, some people might not want a maintenance system because they feel like at any day it could possibly falter, right? Even though we know even if it's a new system, it could falter too. Even if it's a new roof, something can happen, right? But people feel more comfortable of something newer, up to date, that if they did get a home warranty on the systems, they feel comfortable enough that the home warranty could possibly cover it because the systems are not out of date, right? And then also, all these little small things. So I always tell the seller, especially in this market, particularly in this Metro Atlanta area, like David said, they're still seeing multiple offers. Homes are selling quickly in Omaha, Nebraska. But down here in this Metro Atlanta area, you got to be mindful in this market. You got to price stuff right, right to the market. Make sure you understand what's happening. And when since I work with both buyers and sellers, when I go in with a buyer, I can see what they're looking for. I kind of see how they're going. And or when I work with a seller, I'm like, hey, because I'm talking to buyers, I understand this is what they're looking for, and this is why they're not pulling the, what's it called? Pulling what? I don't know how you say, I don't want to say shooting or whatever, but that's why they're not, kind of pulling the trigger per se. Hopefully they don't get anything on the video. But anyway, it says many sellers who have to move because of job relocations, growing families, or other life changes can't put off listing their homes indefinitely. That is helping to wind down a long stretch when historically low supply kept sales depressed. It says on the demand side, agents were counting on more buyers accepting that mortgage rates are unlikely to return to 3% and moving ahead with purchases anyway. And that's nothing too. There are some people that are on a sideline that are buyers, and of course, home prices are unaffordable. But now they're wishing that the interest rates will go down. And in this market right now, in this uncertainty, people getting laid off their jobs, things happening. They keep saying that our numbers are still, inflation is still running rampant in the economy. I don't see it adjusting down to 3% no time soon as far as the rates. Again, I'm not a psychic, and I don't have a crystal ball. I just read data, and I inform myself every day about the housing market. I read my MLS. I read articles. I read a lot of different things. I stay abreast of my market. I go out. I'm on the phone with people every day. I'm helping people. So just by doing that, I kind of can see where things are shifting. It says sales rose in February, but actively the next month suffered its lowest sales pace for any March since 2009. Then in early April, President Trump rolled out his tariff policy, which we all know that created uncertainty, right? Causing fresh economic anxiety in the stock market to sell off. That gave buyers another reason to stay away. Excuse me, sorry, y'all. It really pulled back the market, said Rick Palocious. I don't know. Sorry, y'all. My ears itching. That means somebody's talking about me. Hopefully it's in a good way. Director of Research at John Burns Research says price fell year over year in April, and 19 of the 100 biggest U.S. metropolitan areas, the highest portion since mid-2023, according to the Intercontinental Exchange, a financial technology data company. Home prices are still rising in the Northeast and the Midwest, where inventory remains constricted. So I guess that would be you, David, right? The Midwest, you guys are like more Midwest. I know Northeast people are still seeing home prices rising depending on where you're at in the Northeast. And maybe some parts of, even possibly some parts of California. I don't know. I'm not in California, but just because there is a restriction as far as building out there, depending on where you live at and how long it takes them to build out there. So you might see prices kind of staying steady out there or probably rising a little bit. Again, I'm not in California, so I don't know. But if you are watching this back, if you're an agent in California or if you're somebody live in California, let me know what they're what you're seeing out there as far as home prices. David said, "Yep, we are in the Midwest." Yep. So yeah, so it says you guys are still prices are still rising. So it makes sense as far as you know what you said earlier, the multiple offers, the home selling quickly. You guys are one of those markets where it's just a different market, right? And that's the thing I tell everybody about real estate. Like, you can come on here, we can have conversations about real estate, but again, you should always talk to your local real estate professional, because every state, every city, every county, wherever you're at, is different as far as what they're experiencing real estate wise. It's very local to where you're at. So even though you might get on social media, you might see a broad span of what's happening across the nation, whether you watch, MSNBC, any type of news things that's talking about real estate. You go on to TikTok, you go on to Instagram, you go on to Facebook, you come to YouTube, you watch all these conversations around real estate. You also want to kind of take some of this information and then go back to your real estate professional and say, hey, what is happening locally in my area? I'm hearing this. Is this what we are currently experiencing? Or even like that. I know a lot of people nowadays, because of the internet, you can go online, you can look at the Zillows, you can look at the Redfins, you can kind of see how things are adjusting, where things are selling for, where they're currently listed for, and you can kind of do your own research per se data. But I would definitely say, I appreciate you guys, joining in conversation when it comes to talking real estate. But I am in the Metro Atlanta area, so a lot of it will spin around Georgia for me. And I do take on like abreast of a national situation too. But it's always great to take these conversations and then go back to your local real estate professional and really get more of an idea of what's happening. Just don't take everything you hear from on the YouTube as a blanket across everything real estate wise. All right. So I just want to let you guys know, but we definitely have to see what's happening, because things are happening and things are shifting. So you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. But prices are flat or falling across once booming southeast, southwest region. So I'm a part of the southeast, southwest region. Again, I'm in the Georgia market. So prices are flattening down here. Prices are falling down here. Concessions are being given, especially in Texas and Florida. Homes are taking longer to sell, so inventory is piling up. I'm not in Florida, I'm not in Texas, but according to other realtors that I talk to, have conversations with, they are saying that things are not selling as quickly, things are piling up, and people have to move because of situations. Sometimes a death might have occurred. People are probating a property. Sometimes they might got a divorce. Sometimes they might be relocating, a job situation. So, people are shifting a lot. And because of that, home prices are going up. And then sometimes it might just, like I said, the job situation creates a financial situation. And instead of putting yourself in a financial hardship, some people want to try to get out if they can, kind of jump ship. Says some investors and second homeowners are selling due to rising costs. So that's what we're just talking about. More Canadians are unloading vacation homes since the trade war with the U.S. heated up. And Florida, higher insurance prices and new requirements for condos have sparked a glut of condo listings. So we all kind of know about that. There has been a talk lately in regards to Florida. If you're in the Florida market, again, I'm not in the Florida market, but if you are, please have a conversation with us today, right now, in the comment, in the chat, in the live chat, or later on if you come back watch this video in the comments. Let us know what's going on in Florida outside of what we hear on the news and we are hearing within the different articles. Home builders also built aggressively across the Southeast and Southwest in recent years and are now stuck with an excess of finished homes. They are offering incentives to buyers, including low mortgage rates, that makes it difficult for sellers of existing homes to compete. So this is what we're kind of experiencing down here in Georgia. We have a lot of builders down here that have literally started building, graded the land, and now the builds are going up. And because of that, we're seeing a lot of builders now, what they're doing, because what I'm noticing, like I have a one seller who has a townhouse, and what I'm noticing is that right up the street, they're building, the builders are building another community, and they're pricing everything lower than what the kind of sales are in that area. And so what's happening is that they're pricing it lower, and then outside on pricing it lower, they're giving incentives, they're giving buy downs with the interest rates. So they're like, let's say right now we're about mid sixes, high sixes, sevens. You might go to a new builder and they might say, okay, we can give you a 30-year fixed interest rate buy down for 4.99 or 3.8 or 5.2 or something. And then they can say, hey, and we also can give you up to 20,000, 30,000 and incentives, right? However, there is some ups and downs about new construction as well. And so this kind of keeps going on, but let's get out of this because I want to kind of define it more to the Georgia market real quick as well. So let me know, you guys, what you're seeing in your area in regards to what's happening real estate wise. Please join in the chat. Let's have a discussion together. Again, if you are a parent, a mother per se, happy Mother's Day. And even if you are a father that has been the mother to your children, happy, I guess, Father Day. Let's see. So this is more about Atlanta market. So like I said, I am in the metro Atlanta area. Don't mind the daggone thing being this, but it says economic uncertainty could benefit Atlanta's housing market. So this is saying that if you are currently a buyer, if you're a buyer in this market, somebody that is currently pre-approved, actively shopping with a realtor, more in this metro Atlanta area, or wherever you're at, right? Talk to your agent again. It possibly can help you, as far as what we're kind of seeing when it comes to putting offers in, if you have been ultimately trying to buy a house. It says Atlanta uncertainty around the economy could be filtering down to Metro Atlanta's real estate market. Say a new report from real estate company Redfin has nearly 2/3 of Atlanta's sellers offering concessions to buy in 2025, which I was just telling you guys. We are seeing a lot of people down here, builders, sellers. One of my home sellers that I'm working with now is willing to offer concessions. So we're seeing a lot of people kind of offering concessions if they can to help sell the home. What David said, it was odd. Earlier this year, the market was slower. We saw prices dip slightly. In the last month, it heated back up. Wow. I'm like, that's good, David, as far as, it seems like your economy, as far as real estate wise, is still kind of breathing over there, having some life over there. And it's not a stagnant pace. Like I said, down here in Georgia, you'll get a lot of realtors that'll say, it's the housing market is still hot. And I'm telling people, the housing market is, because at the end of the day, right, people are always going to have to buy and sell. So I'm not telling people that the housing market is not moving, but what I'm trying to tell people is that the housing market in this metro Atlanta area, or even in Georgia, is not as hot as everybody is telling people that it is. We are seeing a stagnant situation right now where there is some houses, once they get on the market, depending on the area, depending on if it's priced right, it might take lesser days to sell, but we're not seeing it as fast as it used to be. So some of the home sellers they're getting really antsy because they're like, oh my God, why is my house having sold in a week? And I'm like, everybody has to readjust their mindset, because that's not a typical, when we're more in a balanced market, a more healthier market per se, I would say, houses tend to sit a little longer. People, these are big these are big purchases that people are making. This is a big decision as far as buying a house. So, it's just got to be patient, especially depending on what area you're in. It says, what we know, according to the company, more than 61% of Atlanta sellers are offering concessions, putting the Peach State capital behind only Seattle and Portland. It says Redfin characterizes concessions as something the seller provided to bring the buyer down the buyer's total cost. That could mean money toward repairs, closing costs, or mortgage rate buydowns. The company's numbers don't include when the seller lowered the list price or negotiated with buyers. Nationwide, the number was 44.4% of home sales, an increase of more than 5% from last year, and close to the record figure of 45.1% at the start of 2023. What they're saying, David Johnson, a realtor with Compass, doesn't go as far as to say this is a buyer's market, but he says it looks a lot more balanced than it has in the past years. So again, a lot of people are being hesitant to say it's a buyer's market. Again, it could be a buyer's market depending on where you're located. Like the one house that I'm working with a seller at, that market is a buyer's market. I've sat in the MLS, I've looked at the data, I've looked at the statistics, the situation happening out there, the number of houses on the market compared to the number of people who are trying to buy. In that market, that particular market is a buyer's market. But again, this depends on where you're at. So that's why you have to talk to a professional, and if you are a person, because I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't need to talk to a real estate professional. I bought a lot of houses. I know what I'm doing. If you know what you're doing, then no need to chat with us. Because I'm like, I can't, I don't, I'm not, I tell people I'm not in real estate to convince nobody. I'm just in real estate to educate people and help people with to make informed decisions. So I don't convince nobody, because I don't like people trying to overly sell me or overly convince me or anything. So I totally understand. It says to get that buyer in a little bit of an uncertain time and to keep them away all the way to closing, there might be more concessions than in the past, he said. What we saw during the pandemic when there were very few concessions. Exactly. So also too, which is the flip side of this too, right? Right now we're in a situation where people, depending on where you're at, like I said, down in the metropolitan area, builders, they're trying to get people in there to buy. Sellers are trying to get people, home sellers are trying to get people in there to buy. So they're offering concessions, they're offering incentives. However, during the pandemic situation, when stuff was just flying, builders wasn't offering, they might not have offered an agent any type of compensation. They might not have offered any incentives. They might not have offered anything because stuff was just flying. So it's like now they're kind of struggling per se. I'm gonna say struggling. I don't care. They're kind of struggling. So then they're like, oh shoot, how can we get rid of this? How can we get rid of this? And they're offering all these incentives now, particularly in this Metro Atlanta area. So I tell people, when you go in there, have a conversation, and see what they're offering, and really get the most out of it. If you are trying to buy right now in this Metro Atlanta area, get the most out of the incentives, get the most out of everything. If you're going to go new construction, do I feel like new construction is always the best route to take? It depends on you as a person. I would buy more of a resale, because I can kind of get more understanding around the taxes and different things like that. I can kind of understand where they're at per se, even though we know every year things kind of get reassessed. But I know sometimes what I've been seeing a lot lately on social media, a lot of these newer first-time home buyers, and I'm pretty sure they're having a conversation at the closing table. So we have to take accountability of maybe not understanding stuff. However, us as realtors, or more if you're buying new construction, the sales agent to the builder should do more of a job of explaining more thoroughly and kind of laying out how much things could increase as the year goes by and you get reassessed. Because if you guys don't know, and I'm pretty sure most people probably know by now, when you're buying new construction, those taxes are based off of the land. They're not based off of the actual asset or the structure on the land. So what you should do, and this is what I tell clients to do that buy new construction with me, and they might feel like, oh my God, Devon does too much. I say, okay, the community you're buying, this townhouse community you're buying in, or single family community you're buying, let's find another community nearby. Let's assess what their property taxes are currently at, and then let's just make that the number. So then when we sit down, we can say, hey, is there a way that we can kind of parallel these numbers per se to make sure we understand how much the taxes will possibly be come a year from now, and you can kind of adjust things and numbers and everything. I tell people real estate is a number game, as far as understanding the numbers and make sure it makes sense for you when you purchase or if you have a mortgage. What is dangerous are people who think they know more than what they actually know. That is true, David. That's the dangerous thing, and we do get a lot of people, and it's in everything in life, right? It's not even just in real estate, it's in everything in life. A lot of people, because of the computer and the internet, like I even do it to myself, right? If I experience something, let's say medical wise, I'll get on the internet, WebMD. Oh no. And then you see all these things of what it could possibly be. And then you go to the doctor and like, oh, it's just an allergic reaction, So we as people, the internet can kind of help us and it can hurt us. It's like catch-22. So it's like, if you don't know certain things, it's okay to ask. It's okay to seek help. But yeah, I feel like the internet and different stuff has gotten people caught up as far as thinking they know more than what they know. So I agree, David. I definitely agree. It says, let's go here, dig deeper. Redfin says they've seen a slight increase in home sales that were canceled before the sale went through. Around 52,000 home purchases were canceled across the country in March, the third highest March level since Redfin started keeping records in 2017. Excuse me. And then that's all for that article. So that was kind of breaking down more of the Metro Atlanta area because I just wanted to let y'all, kind of let y'all see what's kind of happening down here. And let's go over to this article. Let me know how you guys are feeling. I feel like the only people chatting tonight is David and my dad. And anybody else that want to join in the conversation, we totally appreciate you. Don't be scared. This is a conversation we're having between everybody. I appreciate everybody jumping on here watching. But it's okay to jump in the conversation. Let me know how you guys are feeling about real estate. Has buying a home been something that's been on your bucket list, or you're a home seller that really want to sell, but you're scared because of this certain, the economy as far as what we're experiencing right now. Because I can totally understand, even if you're a buyer, somebody wants to buy, like I can totally understand the uneasiness, the uncertainty of it all. But again, you just got to know, as in these type of markets, if you are looking at real estate and these type of markets, just talk to a professional, that really can assist you. And it doesn't mean that you have to jump out right away and start doing things, right? Just have conversations, and then as time progresses, make the right decision for yourself, right? But get the data according to where you're at. It says record high costs, economic unease are stunting the spring housing home buying season. So as we all know, again, we are in the spring home buying season right now, and there are record prices. And we're not going to read too much of this because it kind of parallels what we read. But it says the median U.S. monthly housing payment hit an all-time high of $2,868 during the 4 weeks ending May 4th. That's due to two key factors: the home sale prices, which we all know are up 1.8% year over year. And I tell people too, with these percentages being up, it also, we got to take into account that I know particularly more down in Metro Atlanta area. I'm not sure about your area, David, but a lot of this increase in these home sale prices, the average, whatever, how they kind of use it, is because a lot of people are buying more expensive properties than the lower end. What I feel like is because of the lower end kind of being locked in place right now. So people who want to buy a house, or people who might want to sell a house to move up, they can't because the interest rates are where they're at right now, even though they're not the highest they've ever been. However, the home prices are the highest they've ever been. So with these interest rates comparing to these home prices, what's happening right now is that people that would maybe buy, let's say, $100,000 home or $200,000 home cannot afford to do that right now because of the interest rates and then the affordability level. So they're kind of locked in place. So what you're seeing as far as the increase year over year with home sale prices are really because the higher end people who have the money are still buying homes. They're still buying real estate, or these companies are buying real estate. So all that's kind of being coupling in with this data where people are like, oh my God, home sales prices are still rising. They're still rising so much. And it's like, well, yeah, because we have corporate buyers still buying real estate. We have corporate buyers selling off real estate. We have people that have money buying real estate. But we have people, the average American citizen that's working a 9-to-5 job, trying so hard, especially even like if you're like a single mom or a family, or, a single dad or whatever, that wants to provide a better per se life around with their children, to give them real estate. So when they should happen to leave this earth, they want to pass it on per se. They're not able to do so because they can't afford it due to the high home prices right now. So it's kind of locking people out. So when I look at this data, I look at it more of on like a skew situation where I'm like, oh, okay, it's going up year over year. But yeah, if a mansion is $17 million, like I showed you guys on the one live, and they purchase it for $13 million, even though that's a lot off, they still bought a $13 million mansion compared to somebody going out and buying a $200-something home. So yeah, it's going to be up year over year. So that's just how I look at it. You guys let me know how you feel. David said, true, very little is available in the entry-level market. Exactly. Like there's very little available right now. And it's not that many people that can afford these like $500,000 price point homes. Like down here in the Metro Atlanta area, most of the stuff that I see, some of them might depend on where you're at. You might get the high twos, but most of what I'm seeing is stuff starting in 300,000 price point. So if it's starting in the 300,000 price point, that's still not affordable to me. I'm like, $300,000 is not affordable, because once you go to the closing table and that interest is there and you see how much that loan is over time, I'm like, oh, this is a lot. It's daggone $600,000, $700,000 that they about to tell you to pay back because of that, that quote unquote, well, not quote unquote, the interest per se. So it's just like, it's not no more entry level, really. It's not that many people buying per se. And are, the jobs aren't really increasing as far as paid, or, most people aren't getting promotions. Some people are getting laid off. So yeah, I don't want to go on a tangent, but that's why I say year over year when they say it's increased, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably because more rich people are buying. Ain't nothing wrong. I don't want to hate on rich people, but I'm just saying, we got to look at these numbers a little differently. And the weekly average mortgage rate is 6.7%, down slightly from mid-April, but elevated well above pandemic era levels. It says those record high housing costs, along with widespread economic uncertainty, are stunting the spring home buying season. Mortgage purchase applications increased last week. So the mortgage companies had reported that their applications increased last week, but they're down 6% month over month. Additionally, pending home sales are down 3.9% year over year, the biggest decline in 3 months. A holiday effect is also pushing down sales. Easter fell into this year's 4-week period, but not last year's comparable period. So now what they're trying to do too is they're like trying to say, well, the holidays, so people are not buying. I'm like, okay. At the end of the day, traditionally, the spring season saw some type of uptick, and now the last couple of years we haven't seen the uptick that people thought we would see. Again, it depends on your market though, right? Because David said they're still getting multiple offers. Still selling fast out there in Metro Atlanta area. Things are sitting longer, and I'm going to show you guys that as well. Let's read some of this right here, and then we're going to kind of showing you something in the Metro Atlanta area. Still, some house hunters are hitting the pavement. Home tours are rising faster this year than last year, according to ShowingTime data, and Redfin agents in some parts of the country report competition for turnkey homes in desirable neighborhoods. So that's what we were talking about earlier, talking about that there are still some areas where people are still shopping, people are still buying. The whole thing, as far as I'm saying, home tours are rising. There's a lot of people that'll be with an agent that'll go to Zillow, click on a property, they'll meet you at the property. They're not really pre-approved to buy anything. They just want to look at houses. And so the home tours are rising faster. I kind of throw that out to the side because I don't look at that as sufficient data to me, because I'm like, anybody can do a home tour. I can just go out to, an open house and do tour, even though they are talking about the ShowingTime data. But again, like I said, with the ShowingTime data, I can be on Zillow, I can be on Redfin, I can be on these platforms. I can click, one of these agents. They can meet me at the house. I can tour the house. Like, they scheduled the tour on ShowingTime. So, and it might just be that they're just, looking, but they're not taking any action to actually buy a house. So I kind of throw that out the window. I don't know how you feel about that, David, but I kind of like the whole house tours rising. I'm like, whatever. I'm like that. I can't use that as a factor for me per se, but people are doing different things in regards to data. April is typically a busy month, but spring is off to a slow start this year, said Nicole Stewart, a Redfin Premier agent in Boise, Idaho. There are still some prospective buyers who believe mortgage rates will fall soon, and they're waiting for that to happen. Costs are so high that buyers who are moving forward with a purchase want the home to be perfect. They're asking sellers for more repairs and negotiating more than usual. The move-in ready, beautiful homes that are relatively affordable are exceptions. They're selling quickly, sometimes with multiple offers. And so this is what David was saying too. Selling quickly, multiple offers. So I'm guessing, I'm not sure, according to what she's saying. And what I noticed too, even in this market, if it is in a lower price point, if it is a turnkey, a move-in ready type of property in good shape, and if you're a buyer, I do realize that they go quickly. Like, they don't last long. They do get a couple offers on them. It's not like 10, 20, 50 offers, but they might get 1 or 2 offers just because the property is in a desirable area. It's a low cost property. It's move-in ready. It's not a lot of repairs they got to do, or they're negotiating different things. So that is true. So now let's get out of this one. So guys, let me know how you're feeling. So now what I want to do is I want to show you guys what I typically do. We'll kind of get off of that boat of so much of, I don't want to be so doom and gloom, but I kind of just want to let you guys know what's happening in the housing market. Now let's kind of shift over and see. I want to show you guys my MLS. real quick. And I want to show you guys, hopefully it didn't go off for me, because sometimes the MLS, if I don't get on it for a while, it'll all right, so this is our MLS. We have 2 MLSs in this metro Atlanta area. This is the GMLS, as I always talk to you guys on live about, which stands for the Georgia Multiple Listing Service. And we have the FMLS, which is the first multiple listing service, but the Georgia one was first. Let me see. All right. So now I'm gonna do. So if you guys don't know how the Metro Atlanta area is, we go by counties, and then there's different cities in the counties per se. And I'm pretty sure we're not the only state that does that. It's probably a lot of people that you guys go by county. So Fulton County is where Atlanta is at. Atlanta is located in Fulton County. So what I did right here, I'm going to break it down by individual. So let's say we do residential. We're doing Fulton County. Let's click go. And then we're going to see the results. Hopefully it didn't log me out, because if you're not on it for a while, it'll log you out. So let's see if it can. Okay. So with this data, I always have to compare it with the FMLS, because sometimes some real estate brokerages don't put their listing in the GMLS. They might put it in the FMLS and vice versa. So this data can be a little skewed. But let's see. So it says right here. So these we're doing right now. We're doing Fulton County. We're doing single family homes, right? So single family. So it says right here, new listings in the month of April from 2024. So we're doing year-over-year data real quick. And I don't want to bore you guys. So if I'm boring you, let me know. Just want to inform you. So year over year, 2024, we had 1,458 as far as new listings, and now, this is April. We're in May now, but of course the data is always a month behind. So we're going to show April's data. So we had about 5.3% uptick of new listings when it came to single family homes in the Fulton County area, and then it says pending sales. 2024, we were up at 785. We're down now of April to 2025 is 678. So it's negative 13% in the pending sales. So that means that also, means that either one, there's not as many people per se, I don't want to say buying, but there might be some sales contracts falling through and different things, and compared to last year per se. So in 2024, it says closed sales 730, and it says in 2025 748. So it's up 2.5%. So this is always interesting to me when it's like these are the pending, but like it'll say like the close, and the close is up. And then right here it kind of tells you that out of all the data per se, they're saying that it's up 8.6% as far as closed sales and the total volume per se. And then you go down here, you say average sales price. Again, they're saying the average sales price is up. And I tell people when we get to the average sales price, we got to take into accountability that multi-million-dollar homes, or these homes that are selling for $500, $600, $700 something $1,000 compared to last year, that's the average sales price. Like they're taking all the data and they're averaging it out. So again, I kind of throw this out sometimes, and I know some agents like Devon, you throw it out. I kind of want to look more of the median, but in our information, they give us the average, but I always try to look more at the median because I can kind of see where we're at, like what's kind of selling, what price point is selling the most. And then right here it says active listings is up 4,382. So, and then right here it says days on market. This is another thing that's up 63 compared to 47 in 2024. And then it kind of shows us the foreclosures. So this is saying like last year, even though these are skewed too because there were more foreclosures than that. But again, it's so interesting how I feel like they keep some information out of the MLS, because I'm like, I definitely know that there were more foreclosures than this because I was literally at every daggone auctions and stuff was being foreclosed. But it's not as much as, in the past per se, but definitely more numbers than that. And then let's kind of just dive into the condos real quick. And then I'm going to take you guys down another rabbit hole. And then if you guys have any questions, anything you want to kind of say, let me know. I am telling people that if they're trying to sell their house right now, don't be greedy. This is not a market to be greedy in. Price it correctly. If an agent comes in and they give you some tips, you know, think about utilizing some of those tips. If they say, hey, I'm working with a buyer right now, and the buyers are looking at X, Y, and Z, you might want to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe take that into consideration and do X, Y, and Z to try to get your if you're a buyer and you're buying a home right now, let's say not the seller, but you're a buyer, let's say you want to make sure you work with an agent. And we have a great one join us right now, which is David. So if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, David Manny is a wonderful agent. So you guys are lucky out there in Nebraska. You have a wonderful agent. But if you're working with any like agent as a buyer right now, you want to be very mindful to say, hey, is there a way that you can show me the comparables in the area? Can we look at the any closing costs that any of these people that recently closed might have gotten? Can we also do a 10-year span? If you're a person that really wants to look at the appreciation in the area, ask them to do a 10-year span. I'm going to bring up a 10-year span real quick because I was working with a buyer and in this area. And of course we know, and we got to take into accountability too when I bring up this information, is that there are times which some people don't understand this as home sellers and as home buyers. There are times in markets where real estate depreciates. And I tell people this and they're always like, what do you mean depreciate? There are times where we see depreciation. Is it often that real estate depreciates? No. Typically, real estate will appreciate. However, there are moments where where it does depreciate. And the great financial crisis was a moment in which it depreciated because people were going and bellying up as far as the subprime loans, foreclosures, different things like that. So people were foreclosing, short selling, and it depreciated, brought the volume, the housing prices down, and then get back to the level per se, depending on where you're at for quite some time. And I'm going to show you guys that with this information I have after we get out of this. But then like what I'm feeling right now, especially down here in the metropolitan area of Atlanta, and I talked about this before on lives, we are seeing equity stripping happening here in the metro Atlanta area. We are seeing an adjustment in prices. So we are seeing a depreciation in some areas in this metro Atlanta area. And so some people who might have mortgages might actually be underwater because now their mortgage is more than what the home is worth. So you're underwater now. And some of these people are trying to sell too. Like they might have bought a couple of years ago. They might not want to be a homeowner no more. And there's no equity there. There's no true equity there. The market is correcting. It's readjusting down here a little bit. And because of that, you might buy a house. You might have bought a house a year ago for $450, and now the house is only worth $400,000 because the way the market is adjusting. So you're literally underwater unless you put a huge chunk. Unless you came and paid cash or whatever you did, or put a huge down payment or something down, you might be underwater. So people got to understand, and that is a depreciation situation, right? Over time, if you stand it longer, it'll catch back up, right? I always tell people too, whether you're on the home buyer side, the home seller side, the real estate agent side, whatever side you're on, mortgage professional, whatever, real estate is a long game for everybody. It's not a short game. If you're in the short game, you might want to play some of the stocks. What they have, the stock market where they do the day trading and all that stuff. I don't know how to do that correctly, so I don't do it. But if you're somebody that wants money quickly, you're on the short type of risk type of aspect, then that might be the way to go. If you like to play lottery, look at real estate. Well, I don't know if that's a good analogy, but look at real estate like lottery. You might have to play 1,000 lottery cards or scratch off 1,000 scratch offs before you get your $1 million prize, right? And that's what real estate, right? Real estate is not let me buy it, tomorrow and then I'm gonna sell it in a year. The people that bought in 2019, 2020, they got lucky. That was a fluke per se to me. Prices kept appreciating until 2022, 2023 per se, and then it's starting to go. It's like a hill going up and then down. So I don't know what you're seeing in Omaha, Nebraska, David, but that's what we're kind of seeing down here. But let me get off real quick over here so you guys can. So this is Fulton County. This is condominiums. So it's in new listings. They were down. The condos were down, and they were down because a lot of the condos down here in the metro Atlanta area, because of the HOAs, because of what we're kind of going through, the master insurance policies and all these different things now coming in place. The questionnaires, the condo questionnaires, the lending opportunities. Maybe some of these condos might not be FHA approved, and if they can't be FHA, if they can't have any FHA spot approvals, FHA people can't buy in those buildings. So we're getting condos down here. People are like, it's less coming to the market, and they're sitting longer too if they are on the market. So new listings in April, 437, down 1.1%. Pending sales were down 30.7%, 149. And 2025 closed sales were down 19.3%, 192. Closed sales total volume was down 25.5%, 74 million. Average sales prices were down. So 387. So it was at 419. Now it's down 387. And then active listings have gone up now, 34%. Days on market are 87 days on market. It was 61 before. It's 87 days on market now. And then another thing I like to tell people too down here in Georgia is that, and I don't know if it's the same with you, David, and Omaha, but when you go into the back tax record, sometimes it'll state that the structure, what is it? The structure, let me see. It can be classified as a condo, even if it has like a townhouse structure. It could be considered a condominium in regards to the let me see real quick which one. In regards to, let me just put an address in so I can tell y'all what I mean by that. It could be considered a condominium tax records when it comes to the land use. So like the land use per se could be let me see. I just want to make sure I give you all the right information. So if you guys, sorry, not land. So like the subtype could be a condo. So it could say like it's a condominium, but it could look like a townhouse. And so when we do our data in the MLS, it can state that the sorry, I'm trying to go back over here. It can state, people like, oh, it's a townhouse, but it could actually be, the subtype could be a condo. So the MLS is taking that data and is putting it in there as a condo. So David said, we see the same thing. Okay, you see the same thing. All right. So now let's go to what I want to show you guys as far as what I was doing with a buyer of mine, kind of assessing the whole area. So let's go real quick right here. And I can't show y'all too much, so I had to kind of take some stuff out. So this is the FMLS. So this is not the GMLS, it's the FMLS. So like I told you guys, we have two different MLSs in the Metro Atlanta area. So sometimes you might see something on Zillow or Redfin or whatever, and it might or might not be in either MLS. Also, I tell people down here, because we have some agents, and this happened to me as well. There's some agents who are not in our MLS, and what they do, they might be in the central MLS market, they might be in the northern MLS market per se, and they might put a listing in because they don't live in the particular county or the area, and they'll be listed. They might know somebody that live over there, or they took something on, and they'll put things on Zillow or Redfin, and it'll pop up in the area, and then you'll ask the agent like, hey, I want to see this house. And then the agent will go, if they're in the Metro Atlanta area, we're with FMLS and GMLS. And if the agent that's in a different MLS, if they just put it in their MLS and they don't put it in our MLS, it's harder for us to access it. We can't access the back data information because we don't have access to that MLS. So I tell people to be mindful, whether you're buyer or seller, who you work with agent-wise, because you got to make sure they're putting in the correct MLS. Because I see a lot of people who are not in our market that are listing stuff. It's popping up on Zillow and it's coming up in the area, but we have no access to MLS. I'll call the MLSs. They don't never give us access. They don't answer the phone. You call the agents, they don't answer the phone no more. You text agents, they don't text you back no more. And I'm an agent too. So I don't know if you experience this, David. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, why Like you guys are messing up the industry. Like, please, if you're going to be a real estate agent, I understand some people have to work additional jobs. I totally understand it. Even if you're working another job as a real estate agent, please create accessibility. Just please. And if someone texts you, text them back. Someone call you, call them back. Someone email you, email them back. But anyway, before I go on a tangent about real estate agents, because I'll go on a tangent and I don't want to hold y'all too long. Because I get like, I get so frustrated. Okay, so let's look at this. So this was an area that one of my buyers were looking at. And so these, I'm gonna let you guys know about these. So right here, so we're gonna look at all the closed. So everything that says status, where it says C, that means that those are the ones that closed. All right. Right here, the A means they are currently active in this market now in 2025, but we're not looking at that, right? We're going to look at the C, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it real quick. So this area, this was a subdivision that was built in 2004? Let me make sure. I think it was 2004, 2005, but we'll see it when we pull up the additional information. 2004, 2005. A lot of these homes, these townhomes were selling for like 113, 100 some of them sold for 120, 130. I think the highest one that sold when they were closing out might have sold for like 140 something. And then, of course, we went through the great financial crash, per se, right? Some of these homeowners were smart enough that they got out before it occurred, or while it was occurring, it was like, oh, I'm out of here, get my money. So they were able to sell. So this one, they sold, still able to sell high to try to get any type of, equity out of their home before the market adjusted. And then you had these people that they just couldn't do it. So they all started to either foreclose or end up going, upside down, underwater per se. And you see how they started. So be mindful, you guys. These townhouses were purchased for like $114, $113, $115, $120, $130,000. And then you see in 2009, and it says the closing date, $43,000. And then you still got it right here. You go, so this is all happening in 2010. As you guys can see, closing date over here. I don't know if you can see it. The closing date is kind of hard. Let me see. I'll make it a little bit bigger. The closing date. All right. So you got the closing date over here. So this is when they're closing. And so this is just doing a deep dive. This is what I like to do. I think it's because I ain't got no life. I think real estate is like my whole life. Well, it is my whole life. And because I don't have no life, I over obsess. I'm up all night long. I'm up early morning. I usually wake up around 6, 7 in the morning. I'll try to get a workout in, but before I get a workout in, I should get a moment of peace. But instead, I go into my MLS, like I'm like seeing if anything popped up on the market or looking at data. I'm one thing I can say, and I gotta really pull myself back from, is I get really obsessed with stuff, especially when it's stuff that I like to do. So I'm overly obsessed with looking at data. And also to help buyers or sellers out to make informed decisions, because we got to see what's going on in the market. But anyway, as you see in 2010, you still see 30,000, 30-something thousand, 40,000 again in 2011 closing. And so I'm gonna make a point with this too. So 2012, so you still see all this, right? 70,000, 2016. And then we get to 2017, all this right here. And now we finally are starting to see a couple $100,000 again, right? We saw it was a couple, like 3 or 4 homeowners in the beginning who saw the shift coming. I don't know if they were real estate agents. I don't know if they had somebody in their life that's like, you might want to jump ship now because these people are, looking crazy out here in 2007, 2008. And so some people were able to jump ship in the beginning and kind of get some of that equity or some of that money out before it was too late. And then the appreciation in that area. So in 2007, they bought it in 2004, 2005, 2007 happened. And then these people did not get back. Mind you, these things have shifted a lot. So all the people from the original homeowners, most of them lost their equity. And then you get over here in 2008, in 2019, you still even see somebody buying for $75,000. And then you still see somebody in 2019 buying for $95,000 or $105. And be mindful, if these people bought for $113, it's still not back yet. And it's not until we get to 2019, 2020, where you start to see people, and you still see right here, 2020, you still see 115, you still see it kind of going around. And it's really not until we start to really see where people can get some equity out of their home again in this particular subdivision, in this particular area, wasn't until 2020, 2021. So this is like the back stuff that I do sometimes. I do, not sometimes, all the time. When I'm working with buyers, like I'll look in all the stuff and I'll sit down, because some people you work with, they're like, I'm not worrying about, like, they'll tell you, oh, I'm not worrying about appreciation because I don't plan on never leaving this home. This is my home. I'm gonna stay here forever. I'm not worrying about it appreciating no time soon. So you're like, okay, so if this is your decision, I just want to show you what is happening in the area. But if this is your decision, you're not worrying about the appreciation, you're not worrying about what's happening, no problem. If this is where you want to be at, no problem. At the end of the day, it's your decision. But me as an agent, ultimately, the goal is to hopefully help somebody be able to create appreciation as time goes on. And we know real estate goes up and down, up and down. Like I said, it's a long ride, it's not a short ride. But it's like, it's always great to see like the data and see what's going on, right? So in this area, I was telling my buyer when we were putting an offer, and I said, hey, look at this. Like, it doesn't make sense to put something in at this amount when things are looking like this, So, and like you have like this, even 2023, close to 198, 180. And you look at them, you compare them to what's selling and all that stuff. So just be mindful, again, if you're working with an agent if you're trying to buy a house, look at all this data. So I wanted to show you all that. So that took basically a because it didn't get really back to the right numbers until 2020, 2019. So 2004, 2020. So how many years is that? I don't know. Let me see. I'm better. I should be better at math than this, y'all. But so let's say 2020. Let's just say 2019. So 2019 minus 2004 took 15 years for this subdivision to appreciate back to where it was at. 15 years, you guys. So again, it depends on what you're trying to do. What is your ultimate goal? All right. So now I'm going to show you so people can be like, well, Devon, I didn't see how much they really paid for. So I had to scratch out people's names because, again, I'm not trying to get flagged just from showing you guys some information and how to, sit down and talk with your real estate agent, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to buy, these are conversations you can have. It does require a lot of work, and so, it just depends. You just got to be mindful. But this is what as far as home buyers and even home sellers, I show them data like this too, because everybody needs to know what you're doing. So yeah, so in 2003, these things were being built. I had to cross out the LLC's name. 2004, they bought for 113. And then in 2008, this person, they sold. This was one of the people that was able to kind of get out before things took a dive. They sold for 115. This is the same person. So I don't know. Sometimes in our tax records, they'll duplicate stuff. I just be like, why y'all, like, it can confuse stuff. Because what happens, sometimes people will shift stuff back over. Like you can see right here, it says deed under power, warranty deed. So people are shifting deeds and title ownership, conveying stuff all over the place. Some people put it in an LLC or put it in a trust, it'll go, maybe if you're a divorcee, it'll go from this, a probate situation, and deeds will keep switching. And so you'll see stuff in there duplicated over and over again in the tax records. And then these people couldn't keep it going. They end up foreclosing here, because this actually right here, this was the housing development people bought it. So they bought it for $71,000, and then this person came and bought it in 2018 for $95,000. Again, so this is the same subdivision we were talking about earlier that I had in the MLS, the FMLS. I'm just showing you guys more of a defined back part of it, so you can kind of see the levels per se, and see how this neighborhood, even in 2018, still hadn't appreciated back up to what the original owner bought it for. Even though it changed hands, it didn't appreciate back to that. That's going to another one. So this is the same subdivision. This person bought at 2004 at the lowest. So sometimes, if you guys don't know, when you're buying new construction, to kind of get people in the beginning, they'll have the prices lower in the new construction subdivisions, and then as they go through different phases, it'll go up like a roller coaster. It'll start low, and they'll say, "Oh, you want to buy it now? Prices are lower now because as we keep building and other phases keep coming on, the prices are going to go up." So that's typically what happens, and with new construction, as it goes on, the prices go up. Now we're down here in Atlanta. It's interesting now because, like I said, some new constructions, they're actually going down and then up and then down. It's almost like a what's that called? Like a this, like that happening. It's interesting. But in 2004, this was the person that got in right away, and they got it lower, and then it went up. So they bought it 98,000. They end up selling it. So again, deeds transfer and all this stuff. Again, the person then sold it to 2020 for $100,000. They bought it at 98,900. So if you look at it this way, there wasn't that much appreciation in equity. However, because they had it for so long, they probably paid down a lot of their mortgage, so they were able to get out and make some money. But appreciation wise, they didn't really gain anything because it sold for $100,000 in 2020. And then in 2021, this is the same person, and they bought it. So this person right here, when they bought it, they had it right here, and then they sold it again in 2022. So they were able to make some equity right there because, again, this was during the pandemic where people were just buying stuff high and not really looking at what, Yeah, let me keep it moving. And so this is the last one. I just wanted to give you some context around the area. So this is what I was doing with my one buyer client. Like, I like to do this with the buyer clients. I like to also pull up a map because, like I said, down here, what's happening a lot in Georgia. If you guys don't know, we are one of the biggest states per se that have a lot of corporate investors. So with us having so many corporate investors, I like to pull up a map too of the area, and I like to go through all of the owners in the area. And of course, I can't hit every owner as far as being LLC because the corporate entities are having LLCs. Some mom and pop business might have an LLCs, but some of them might still have it in their name. So you might not know who's renting per se. But I like to do all that, particularly more of the corporate owners, not the mom and pop investors, but more of the corporate investors. Because, hey, what's going on, Shannon? Thank you for joining us. Hello, Clark. Thank you for sharing the data. No problem. Hopefully this insight helps people. It's wonderful agents that are on the live. Of course, David. It's a wonderful agent, and you get great insight from him if you're in Omaha, Nebraska area. This is just some of the stuff that I do when I'm looking at things. Like I said, I kind of overly obsessed with stuff, and I gotta really calm it down. I gotta really calm it down because I don't get no sleep because I'm like I have a seller that I'm working with now, and it's like the anxiousness and the anxiety is like, I'm like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm up, and I'm like in the MLS. Like is the data going to change, Devon? It's not going to change. Like, go to sleep. But I don't know. But anyway, right here, they bought this in 2004. Actually, hold on. So this person actually bought before this person because they bought in. No, I think this one bought in 2003. Sorry. So they bought October 2003, and then this person bought in was it January, February, March in 2004. So in 2004, they bought at 115. And then again, they sold it in 2018 for 72,000. And then this is the same. They sold it again right here. Well, as you guys can see, it says foreclosure. It foreclosed. Then this person bought it. Then they had it right here. This person was here. Then they transferred it over here. They bought it for 71. And then this person in 2018 bought it for 92,000. So yeah, so it's just showing you like a little insight of this area. So again, if you are a person that ultimately, again, we don't know how real estate will shift, right? We don't know how it will shift. No one has a crystal ball. We can't see anything. But what we can do as a realtor or real estate professional, we can look at the data and we can see what's going on, right? We don't know, even though we might see in their finance terms, we might see the loans that people taking out. However, we don't know everybody's personal situation. I don't know what people are going through. Yes, I can see on the back end too. A lot of people, like I always tell people when I'm working with people, they don't know this, but if you are somebody that is working with me now, you know this. Just like people do nowadays, they research me. I research people. I do the same thing you do to me. I research you before talking to you, especially if you're a home seller. I research the back history. I can see what you bought your home at as far as loan wise. I can see who your loan originator was. I can see who it was sold off to. I can see if you refinanced. I can see how much you refinanced. I can see the interest rate that you're at. I can possibly see because again, it's an estimated situation when it comes to your possible mortgage payment. I can see that. I can see all these things. So when I get on the phone with a home seller, of course, I'm not going to come on like I can see all these things because I don't want people to feel that I'm stalking them per se, but I do my research. Similar to when someone is meeting you nowadays, people do their research right before they meet you. So they're like, oh, well, let me research this person. Let me see who this person is. Let me see how this person can help me. And I do the same thing, right? If you're a home seller or a home buyer, I research you. If you're a buyer, I already know. And again, don't think I'm crazy. But if you're a buyer and if you never, bought a house before, I know where you might. Well, it's not. I know where you might. I know where you currently stay at because again, I'm researching you. We do that. Everyone does that. So, and I can kind of see different things, so I can, know who I'm working with, and if the person is serious, if they're not serious. Even if you're not serious, it's okay not to be serious. If you're just asking questions, I'm okay with answering questions that you ask. I get a lot of questions all the time, especially through the YouTube and with different videos I do. I know some people reach out to me because I did a video about Georgia tenant landlord stuff and rental stuff and different things. So people will reach out to me and ask me questions. So I get a lot of emails about different questions. So it's okay to ask me questions. 9 times out of 10, I'll answer you, and I'll answer you right away. And it's not people like, well, Dag, Devon, how are you answering people so quickly? Aren't you working? I'm like, yeah, I'm working, but one thing I noticed, and the thing is with me also having working with my own business outside of just real estate, is that it doesn't take me long to answer a question. I don't need to sit for a whole day or a whole 2 days or a whole week before I get back to you. And I know sometimes people used to tell me, like even when I was depending on what industry I was working in, they'd be like, "Oh, Devon, like you don't have to get back to people right away. Let them wait. Let them like sit and let them wait." I'm like, why? First of all, I don't want them to wait because what if I forget about it? Second of all, I don't feel like I need to make you wait. If I'm like, say if I'm in the plane in the sky or if I'm underground in the train or something, of course you would have to wait because I didn't get it. But if I'm right there and I see it come through, if you text me, if you call me, why would I let it wait? So some people have their own things of what they do, but that's just what I do. But hey, what's going on, MH08? He said, I'll ask them if they researched me. Yes, yeah, you should ask people, I research everybody. They research me, I do tell people too, because I know some people be like, for some reason, I don't show up on Zillow no more. I don't know why. I've been trying to put my things on Zillow. It's not showing up. I don't know. It's weird. Because I know people like, I'm trying to research you. I can't find you on Zillow. I'm not showing up on Zillow, which is weird. And because when you leave different brokerages or do different things too, all your sales don't show up either. So some of my sales aren't showing up. And if down here too, if you're buying, like I helped a buyer that bought out of our MLS. So when they buy out of your MLS, it doesn't populate either. So it's a lot of things too that you have, if you're researching me or any agent per se, you got to piece things together. Just because everything doesn't kind of come into like the same core space where the data is at. But I do tell people, research. So, but that is something that I do. I do research. But let's see. But anyway, let's end off with this final thing, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. Again, happy Mother's Day. If you are a mom, happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you for joining us this Sunday night. Thank you for everybody joining in the chat with the conversation. I appreciate you guys stopping over this channel. Please don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. We are 8 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. And I would love if you guys would hit that like button for me to help it kind of go through the algorithm so we can help out other people or have more conversation and get people involved in regards to talking about real estate. All right, so these are the last things I want to leave off with, because I was like, you know what? Let's leave off with some lessons per se. Because I don't want to feel like I'm always putting things down. I don't want to feel like I'm talking negative about real estate or about the experience. I don't want people to be scared to buy real estate, scared to sell real estate. I just want to inform you guys of what's happening in the real estate market. And again, everything is local to your market. So I don't want you guys to be scared to do anything, because as a human being in life, when we can't always live our life being fearful to do things. We have to sometimes take risks. But we also want to make sure in real estate, because it is a big purchase, we make sure we make informative decisions if we decide to, jump out there to take that leap, whether it is selling your house or buying a house. And if you're selling a house, have a conversation with a local real estate professional. If you're buying, have a conversation with a local real estate professional. And if they give you some tips or some key points, listen, take them into consideration, And think about them real quick, because some people, they gonna have it their way, and if it ain't their way, they're like, I ain't, and it's like, it's okay to to take stuff in consideration. Like I have a seller now, wonderful person, but it's things that are hindering the sale, because it's certain things that they want to put in place that I don't agree with. But again, you have to allow people to go down their own path, even if you're telling them the right information and telling them what the best thing to do is. You have to allow people, because this is their decision, this is their home, this is their purchase. You have to allow people to do what they want to do, even if you inform them with a wealth of knowledge. People are going to do what they want to do, right? Like, that's like when your mom tell you, don't touch that hot stove, it's going to burn you, and somebody going to go over there and they still going to touch that hot stove and they going to get burned. So, all right, so let's leave with this. So even though we're not in 2008, this is what you could take these key points into 2025 when buying or selling a house. Says what buyers should take from the 2008 playbook. Says even if today's housing market isn't a repeat of 2008, that doesn't mean the lessons from that time don't still apply. In fact, experts agree that many of the same habits that got buyers into trouble back then, like stretching beyond their means or focusing too much on short-term gains, can still create risk today. And that's what we talked about prior, right? We said people that have short-term gains, this real estate is not a short-term gain market. Some people got lucky when they bought in 2019, was able to flip it real quick in 2020, 2021, 2022. Traditionally, real estate is not a short-term gain. As far as a home owner, investors, for them is a short gain, because they buy low and they flip according to market value or a little higher. So that makes sense for them. But if you're an actual homeowner, it does not make sense. If that, you want to kind of do more of a long game, focus a longer stretch. All right, so let's see what we could take from this. It says lesson 1, and we want to live within our means. Live within your means. That's why I tell everybody when I get to the closing table with my buyers, they look at me like I'm a nutcase all the time, because I will sit there we will get into the attorney's office, because in Georgia you have to use a closing attorney to close. And I will say to the buyers, I'll say, are you sure you still want to purchase this house? Can you afford this mortgage? And they'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure you make an informative decision, something that's great for you. If you don't want to buy this house right now, I'm okay with it. I'm here to help you. Let me know what you want to do. And that's what I do. A lot of agents say, Devon, you are stupid for doing that, but I'm not stupid, because I don't want to put no one in a bad situation. And after they buy the house or whatever they do, I can't see what happens financially, because I'm not there. But as far as helping them in the beginning, I try to do my best. And like I said, before we get to that closing table and they sign those documents, I want to make sure, are you comfortable? Do you want to do this? This is a big purchase. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? If not, it's okay. Yeah, you might lose your earnest money, but and I don't want to say it like this, like it's happens, like it's like a whatever. A couple $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 is nothing compared to a $500,000 loan that you might not be able to pay back. So let's see. Tell a man there are billions of stars in the galaxy and he believes you. Tell him the paint is wet. And it said, tell him the paint is wet. And then does he still touch it? He touch it and be like, oh, it is wet. Oh, that's funny. So it says one of the biggest lessons people should learn from the 2008 financial crisis was not to overextend yourself, says Whitehead. Living within your means and understanding that whether or not you can afford something means something comes down to more than can I make the monthly payment is very important. So you want to make sure. It says, let's say right here, it says the CEO, let's say Jack Miller, says home buyers should not overextend themselves even if they find someone to lend them money, but what you can comfortably afford and even a little less so you can sleep at night if bad things happen. In short, just because you can qualify for a larger mortgage doesn't mean you should take it on. Have a budget, and sticking to it matters more than ever in a market where prices and costs shift quickly. So so you want to have a budget. You want to understand your affordability level. And like I always tell people, if you get pre-approved, let's say for $500,000, maybe you should only spend $350,000. Do not spend at the top of your pre-approval, please, 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 people. And And we've called people, I've called people's bluffs too, because some realtors will bluff with their clients. I've called people bluffs with a couple buyers of mine where a realtor say, oh, highest, like they'll say highest and best, calling for highest and best. And one of my clients, we were like, well, okay, well, we're not competing because she wants to stay within a certain price point. I'm not going to allow her to go above it, you know, and she's okay with that. I talked to her. You're okay with that? You're fine with that? Yes, we're okay. Let them go to who's the highest and best. Come to find out, there was no highest and best. The realtor was bluffing to try to get us to put an offer in higher. So sometimes it's okay to allow them to pull their own card and allow their cards to tumble down. All right. So you need to stay with affordable financially for you and your situation. Lesson 2, we almost done, y'all. I don't want to take too long. We got 3 lessons. It says build a buffer. It's always important to prepare for the unexpected. Having a financial cushion can prevent short-term setbacks from snowballing into long-term problems. Set a goal of having 3 months of expenses and savings as a reserve or emergency fund. It says many people's financial problems start with an unexpected expense or job loss, so they immediately have to use credit cards, and that becomes a slippery slope. So again, we want to set a buffer too. If you're trying to buy a house, set a buffer. Again, this goes back to living within your means. If you know you're making a certain amount a month, let's say $5,000 a month, maybe try to see if you can buy. I know it's hard right now to do so, but maybe see if you can get a mortgage that's like $1,700 a month or something, right? So you can be able to still save some money to put aside. And then also you got to take into accountability. You're not just paying a mortgage, but you're paying the utilities, any other expenses, your car note per se, if you have student loans per se. So you want to try to add up everything that could be the possible expense, that monthly expense compared to what you're currently making after you net with the net amount, and see if there's still a space where you can put aside maybe $100, $200 a month per se out of your money, right? So that way you can create a snowball situation to create a buffer in case something should happen, because we live in life and every day things happen. Things happen, you guys. And then lesson 3, choose the right loan product. So this was a lesson that people learned from 2008, and now we're in 2025. And this created, of course, the situation as far as a great financial crash. Beyond your budget, it's smart to think through the structure of your loan. While adjustable rate mortgages, which are ARMs, may offer lower initial payments, they can become risky if rates continue to fluctuate. ARMs can seem attractive at times, but if rates spike, you are going to have to deal with that too. Okay, he says, in times of uncertainty, fixed rate mortgages can be the best choice because they allow your mortgage payments to remain predictable. So again, when we're in a time of uncertainty, it might not make sense for you to get an ARM. I realize what I'm realizing about the ARM is that people that are bigger risk takers, or people that feel like they have a certain amount of money, they kind of lean towards ARMs still. But someone who wants to make more of be more predictable, understand where their mortgage payment can be at. Of course, we know insurance costs are going up. We know property taxes are going up. So we do know that your monthly mortgage will adjust up. Hopefully it will, hopefully it will decrease, if we see more, deflation per se. However, like I tell people, look at if you look at your property taxes compared to like the appraisal, the taxes are always the tax assessor is always behind the appraiser, the lender appraiser per se. So I don't know how much those taxes will, decrease per se, but there are times, and there have been times where taxes have gone down. Some people say they haven't, but there have been times, you guys. But anyway, that is what I kind of want to just talk about tonight. Those are the 3 lessons that we take out at the end of this live tonight. Again, happy Mother's Day. Happy, I guess I'll say Parent Day per se too, if you are a father taking care of your child. And then we'll flip it around on Father's Day too, if you're a mother taking care of your child, because we know that mothers are wonderful. Mothers bring life into the world. We love mothers, but we do have parents too, outside of mothers, that are taking care of their children, that act as mothers. So I want to tell you guys, I appreciate everyone for joining me tonight. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks, David. He said, great show. Thanks, David. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are watching this on the playback, don't forget to comment below. Don't forget to let us know where you're tuning in from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button to allow us to get more views on the video. If you are on Omaha, Nebraska, or if you just want to talk real estate, David, living in Omaha, David Matney is a wonderful real estate channel. Go over there, subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Give him some likes, give him some views. Check out his videos. I love his videos. MHAO say, I hopscotch those mortgage programs in the mid 2000s. I think I'm lucky or smart. Lucky works for me. Hey, whatever you say, you know, if you're lucky, it's always great to be lucky. It's always great. So you always are able to put yourself in a great position. You know, some people have luck on their side and you have luck on your side. So I love it. I love it. So thank you guys for tuning in. MHOA, David Matney, Shannon, thank you for stopping by today. My dad, James, and everybody else who's tuning in tonight that wasn't able to comment, but they were able to join the stream. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you all next Sunday back here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful night.